Hello. So this is unusual for me to do 2 videos in 2 days, but this is kind of like a little PS from my last video. No, this is my emergency action plan, which was a big part of my video from yesterday, entitled Connecting Dots. So my emergency action plan is woven into that. I wanted to pluck that out and just have it here in a much shorter video for anybody that might be interested or that it could help. And I'm so pleased to share that it's already helped a good friend of mine. And she emailed me today and told me that she was already on step 4. She's at her office. They were delivering so many different, 3 or 4 different deliveries of goodies to her office today, and instead of indulging in the sugar and the flour that is so pervasive and just relentless this time of year, she jumped on this emergency action plan and she made her way through it, and she emailed me and reached out to me, and it went great for her, and it helped her. So she also told me that she screenshotted down below. I'll put it down below again. She screenshotted my emergency action plan and then printed it out and then covered it in packing tape to laminate it, and it's in her purse now. So that just tickles me. You know, I tell you all, if nobody watches these videos, they help me. They help me process my life. If anybody watches them and it helps, fantastic. So I'm running errands. I'm sitting outside the bank. I was thinking they might be kind of curious what I'm doing out here, but anyways, so here's my emergency action plan. Before I jump into it, I want to tell you that here's 2 little mantras for you. There's an A1 and an M1. Anxiety. I want you to tell yourself this: action is the antidote to anxiety. Action is the antidote to anxiety. When we are having anxiety, and just whether it's just an overwhelm of like life in general or an actual chemical, biological anxiety attack, it has helped me over and over to take action. So there is action woven into this emergency action plan. And there's also ministry. So here's the M1. Ministry is the antidote to misery. So when we are focused on ourselves, which, I'm getting a call. When we are focused on ourselves, we can end up pretty miserable. So ministry, which just means to meet needs, is the antidote to misery. So we want to, when we're in the midst of anxiety, we want to take action. When we're in the midst of misery, we want to reach out and meet the needs of people around us. So action is the antidote to Action's the antidote to anxiety. Ministry is the antidote to misery. And both of those are woven into this emergency action plan that I'm going to read. Also, before you start on these steps, in the midst of an attack, in the midst of a moment where you're wanting to turn to your drug, the minute you realize, by the way, look at this bracelet. It says bright line eating. I want to keep my life bright and radiant. The moment that it becomes conscious, the moment that you are cognizant, the moment that you're aware, oh my goodness, I'm starting to have thoughts of binging. Like an aura before a migraine. Friends of mine that have terrible migraine issues, they can sense it coming on, either with blurred vision or like their hearing kind of goes out. They have this like aura, I think it's A-U-R-A, an aura before the migraine, before the binge, before just being in the throes of this attack of wanting not only to binge, but just to partake in whatever your drug is. The minute you feel it coming on, like where life has gotten stressful enough or your biology has switched enough that you're starting to even consider going down the path of considering it, to even have thoughts about thinking about it, before you start to implement these 7 steps that I'm going to tell you, stop and breathe. Take, let's say, 10 nice, deep breaths. I just left my sponsor's house and she reminded me of the importance of this. And it's because when we're stressed or we're getting worked up or we're getting anxious, we start shallow breathing. It's like shallow. You're like freaking out. When you're talking a lot, you're shallow breathing. Good singers know that breathing is like a big part of it. So when you're shallow breathing, you are not getting out all the carbon dioxide. Now, here's some science for you that she just shared with me. And the science behind addiction is why I'm 14 months into this. It's why I'm almost 100 pounds down. It's my buy-in. It's why I bought into all this, because I'm fascinated with the science behind it. And I want to be the boss of this body. I don't want this body bossing me around. I don't want a 2-year-old leading me through the wilderness. I don't want the blind leading the blind. I want to be well equipped with an understanding of the science behind what's going on in our bodies. When our breaths are short, we're not getting out all the carbon dioxide. And when we're not getting out all the carbon dioxide, but we're panicking, our body starts grabbing on, trying to get oxygen, and it's grabbing that carbon dioxide and it's sending it back into our bloodstream. We're getting less and less oxygen to our brain. When our brain starts to get less oxygen, it starts to prioritize. And it says, okay, if I'm not going to get as much oxygen as I need, then I need to prioritize which parts of my brain get this precious oxygen. And what our body's trying to do is keep us alive. So it is going to give the parts of our brain that control organ function, it's going to prioritize that over the parts of our brains that control thinking, thought, and good decision making. So as our brains are being deprived of oxygen, the prefrontal cortex is deprived first because it's back here. In basically the base of your brain, the brain stem, I want to say the basal. When my dad had his stroke, it affected his, I can't think of it. It affected the parts of his brain that controlled function and emotion and things that are quite involuntary. So your body's going to try and get oxygen to the parts of your brain that control organ function, not your primary thinking, okay? So obviously that would cause major problems with our decision making. So as soon as you realize you need to implement your emergency action plan, before step 1, start breathing. Take 10 deep breaths and then get going on number 1, which is to pray. And then we'll get going on that. So I just wanted to share that with you. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Is the moment you realize you might be stepping into a danger zone. Okay? So breathe. Get that oxygen back to your entire brain, not just, my sponsor was explaining to me, it's sort of like where you would put a headband, but in the middle and then down. That's the part of your brain that is that controls organ function. So your body's going to obviously prioritize, which is a good idea, body. Thank you for that. It's going to prioritize keeping your organs, keeping your body functioning, but not prioritizing our decision making. So start breathing to get oxygen flowing back everywhere. Okay, here is my emergency action plan. Number 1, pray. So recenter yourself and ask God to step in and be grateful for His strength. He can do this, not us. It's not the fruit of us, it's the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. We need God to help us control these selves of ours. So number 1, pray. Number 2, reach out. Satan is the Lord of silence. Do not hang out with him alone. Get it up and out of you as you start to entertain these thoughts. you're going to reinforce them and they're going to grow. You don't want them to grow. So sooner than later, as soon as possible, reach out. Tell someone you trust. Tell someone that knows what you're going through. Hey, I'm in the middle of an attack. I'm starting to have thoughts of turning to my drug. That's it. Just reach out and tell them that. Just the act of doing that, you will no longer be alone in these fantasies, these thoughts that you do not want to continue. Number 3, drink 32 ounces of water. Your body needs water for every single function. Drink 32 ounces of water. A lot of times the extreme hunger is really thirst, but just drink the water. Just drink the water. Just consume the water. Number 4, create, then execute, and then repeat if necessary any positive and productive 3-step action. It does not matter what those 3 steps are. I cannot stress that enough. Go fold a load of laundry, call a friend, do 10 jumping jacks. It does not matter what those 3 steps are. If you need to, come up with 3 more, come up with 3 more, come up with 3 more. This will not only get you to calm down and relax a little bit and start breathing better, but it'll also get your mind and your brain engaged in some activity that will distract you from your obsessive thoughts about your drug, and it will lure you away from them. So not to mention, you'll get a couple things done around the house, right? So if they're positive, if they're productive, just do 3 things. And then when they're complete, maybe do 3 more, maybe do 3 more. Number 5, do something for someone. So reach out in service. Go do your teenage son's laundry. Do a load of laundry for him. Call your husband and ask him, what would you like for dinner? Or call a friend and check on him. Walk over to your neighbor and ask them if there's anything you can do for them. Shovel snow for someone else. You get my point. Do something for someone else. Say a prayer for someone else. Do something for someone else. Number 6, repeat this. Sugar and flour cause depression and anxiety 7 times. Sugar and flour cause depression and anxiety. Say it 7 times. And if sugar and flour is not your drug, I want you to fill in the blank. This drug causes this. Because you and I both know it causes something really bad. So remind yourself of that. And finally, number 7, if necessary, cry. Cry. The pressure is building. And crying can release that tension. So, pray, reach out, drink water, create, execute, and repeat, if necessary, a 3-step action plan. Do something for someone else. Repeat your helpful mantra about your drug. And then cry if necessary. There you have it. That's my emergency action plan. I will also put that down below. And if this helps you, fantastic. If you have one that works already, type it below and let anybody that watches this video read yours. We are all in this together. So thank you for being on this journey with me. I love you dearly, and I hope that this helps.